Welcome to Founder Voice Podcast, the space for bold, empowering, raw, and unfiltered conversations about business, relationships, and everything that makes us fierce. No filters, no fluff, just real talk. Get ready to own your voice and step into your power unapologetically. Let's get into it.
Hey everybody, we're back with Found Her Voice podcast. Today I'm doing a special episode. I'm sitting down with Gary Kingsinger. He's been homeless for over 20 years, but his ideas have reached the world. So I'm bringing Gary on because I want him to share his story. I want him to get his story out here, and I want him to tell about how he's turned down China 4 times. How, the first offer came through Ford Motor Company and what that looked like for him. Gary, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for taking the time. Kind of hard. It's been a long road, so.
Absolutely. This is what it's all about, is getting your voice out here. It's time to stop being silent about what's going on with you and letting, the world know you're still here, right?
I'm still breathing.
That's right. So, where are you at right now?
Huntington Beach, California. Yeah, park. I've been living in this park here for about 8 years. Since my accident about 8 years ago, I hit my head, ruptured the blood vessel, top of my brainstem, and almost died. And I've been here for about 8 years recovering. So it took me about 3.5 years to walk.
Wow.
Pain 24/7. I got nerve pain throughout my whole body. I have to walk with my walker, but still breathing.
That's a good thing. So there's God's watching over you, Gary. Every day. Yes.
What I live for.
So I want you to tell the people who you are and what you're doing. What you've been doing.
My name's Gary Kingsinger. I was born and raised in Detroit, 1962 Detroit. I think I'm still the youngest certified mechanic ever to work for Goodyear, 18 years old. I got into building prototypes, clay modeling, metal fabricating, the whole 9 yards. And I broke my back. In 1999, I broke my back building a Chrysler Crossfire in 4 places, and I had to find something else to do. So one thing led to another. 5 years later, I met a guy. He was building a concept Mustang, and he didn't know how to build an X, Y, and Z. He couldn't get it straight. So I helped him straighten it out. And at the last second, I carved this 6-foot Mustang, flamed it, and sent it to the SEMA show in Las Vegas. And he came back and he says, "Oh my gosh, we're going to be rich. Everybody wants to buy that horse." I said, "My horse?" So one thing led to another, and I had to quit and take my horse and went home. But I ended up sending one to Detroit. And then next thing I know, I was getting a call from Ford World headquarters saying, "Hey, make 3 more of these and get your buddy Detroit. We want to meet you." This is going to be hard for me. So I did. And I was doing some stuff with Ford, and a lot of stuff happened with Ford. And I don't want to get into my stuff with Ford because I've been protecting that name for 20 years. But Ford did some things to me. The whole reason I'm homeless right now is in 2000, I have all the emails. Ford called me to do the new Mustang logo for them when they had a new Mustang. And at first I said, no, I didn't want to do it because there were some people. It wasn't Bill, it wasn't Al Mulally, but there was other high-ranking people that were playing games. And I didn't want to do it. She talked me into it and said, Al Mulally personally asked me to do this. So I did the new Mustang logo for Ford. And their deal with me was, if you do this for us, we're going to put one of your logos in every dealership in the United States. And I said, okay. I said, with that said, Regina Watson had a licensing. I said, okay, Regina. I said, with that said, I'll do your pony. And she says, well, what do you want? How much do you want to do the initial pony? I says, you pay for materials. I'll do your pony, but you do exactly what you said you're going to do, or I'm going to lose everything. She said, you have my word. So I did the pony. I did it in 2 weeks, actually, because right after I hung up the phone, I get a call from Sam Spitz, Mach 2 Management, do all the big shows for Ford. And she tells me, yeah, I hear you're doing a new Mustang logo for Ford. I says, yeah, but tell me. She says, is there any way you can have it done in 2 weeks? I said, 2 weeks? Are you crazy? She says, no. I said, oh, you need SEMA. She says, yeah, we need for SEMA. I said, all right, get done for SEMA. So I had 2 weeks to do about a 6-week job. And by the time I got this thing, I worked for the whole, in fact, she didn't even give me the data for 4 days. So now I'm down to 10 days. By the time I got this thing to SEMA on time, half an hour to spare, I was up for 59 straight hours. All coffee, working my butt off. Because I did what I said I was going to do. At that point, this was November. They were supposed to give me a deposit, an order, which would have paid for my licensing, and I'd have been going. But instead, they reneged on the deal, and I got thrown out of my shop 2 days before Christmas. And they tried to send me to China. And I said, I will die on the street before my stuff's made in China. My father fought in World War II. My grandfather fought in World War I, and my great-grandfather did a POW twice in the Civil War. I'll die in the street before my stuff's made in China. I wear it on my wrist. God and country. So I said no. At that time, I quit with Ford, but all of a sudden I had this interest with my General Motors stuff. So, okay, I'm done with Ford. I'm going to go to the team stuff. I need an investor because I'm broke, penniless, and homeless. I was disabled for 5 years, living on disability. When my disability ran out, I was thrown out on the street like piece of dirt. So I started going around the country looking for an investor, and I went around the country 23 times. I had 31 investors try to steal it, and 3 others said they would do it if I would took my stuff to China. They'd fund it. And I said, no. I'm living on the street, not knowing where my next meal's coming from, and I'm turning down China. I'm in this park, and people look at me like I'm a piece of dirt, like I'm a loser, like I'm a scumbag. I should be outside here right now, pinstriping my helicopter. If I'd have went to China, that's what I'd be doing, but I didn't. And you know, my health is bad. I can't walk hardly 50 feet anymore. Pain 24/7. I got nerve pain throughout my whole body. I'm just done. I just don't even do anymore. And then the reason I was coming across the country, because I was coming to try and meet with either Kid Rock and Jelly Roll, because I want to gift these guys all my tools, all pre-approved Ford, Jim, and Chrysler tooling. I have 26 part numbers. I want to gift them to these guys. One of the two. I'm thinking Jelly Rolls now. And I can hook them up with manufacturers that will manufacture, warehouse, package and ship, turnkey. But you got to have $100,000 to even get that started. I don't have that. But they can take that money. I don't want anything. Here, you just take it, make the money, feed the homeless, take care of homeless veterans. So when I get to where I'm going, I get the pat on the back, because that's who I work for. I don't want anything for this world. You know, you've met me, you know who I am. I work for the good Lord himself. I tell everybody, I should do this, I do that. I says, I work for the Lord. It pays me a brick a day. I said, it takes a lot of bricks to build a castle in the kingdom. And I'm good to go, you know, anytime. Because this is not living. It's not living at all. I just wonder if somebody can help me get to Jelly Roll, and I'm going to hook this guy up. So he wants to feed hungry people and take care of the homeless. I can help him do that on a massive scale. When I went on Facebook, I wasn't saying hello to the industry. I was leaving because I was getting screwed so many times. In fact, when I posted on Facebook and it exploded all over the world, Jim Burr had a license at Chrysler. He calls me up. He says, Gary, what are you doing? I said, well, Jim, I'm quitting. I said, you've seen how many people tried to steal this from me because they see me broke, penniless, and homeless, living in my car. The reason I have so many part numbers because I just kept on working. You know, they'd say, yeah, tomorrow. 3 months, 6 months later, give us control or you're out of here. 3 times I was thrown out in sub-zero weather. Give us control, you're going to freeze to death. I said, I'll see you on Judgment Day. Bye. By the grace of God, I made it. But in a nutshell, that is my story.
So, Gary, what keeps you going today?
Good Lord.
The good Lord.
Because when this all started, my deal with the Lord, because I talked to him, I talked to Yeshua 24/7. I pray to Father twice a day. My deal with him is like, look, I never wanted, I was going to feed hungry children all over the world because my reward comes later. I've seen what money does to people. I want nothing to do with it. That's why I'm going to give my life's work here. Just take it. Be done with it. So what I want to do now is I don't want my life's work to go to waste. There's too many people that wanted it. you see my Facebook, people all over the world wanted this stuff. It was going nuts. And I wasn't even supposed to show it because I didn't have licensing. You can't show it. You can't talk about it. You can do anything because you don't have licensing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's a lot of people that aren't going to be happy that I'm here. You know, the people that screwed me over. And all I can really say to Ford Motor Company is, Bill, you need to talk to me. Because the only thing is because I protected your name for 20 years. And I know things about this company you wish I didn't know. I sat there and I dealt with Rich Zavatsky, the head of vehicle manufacturing engineering, John Tardigan, Audrey Zavatsky, Regina Watson. I'm dealing with the heads of Ford Motor, Alan Mullally. I deal with the heads of Ford Motor Company. I know things.
That's exactly right.
I'm not saying Ford did anything bad, but what they did to me, they put his name in jeopardy and the company's name in jeopardy. So Bill Ford did nothing wrong. Don't get me wrong. I don't want anybody to think Bill Ford or Ford Motor Company did it, but there's some high-level people that did it.
Yeah.
Because if I go forward with this and tell people a story, they're going to find out what kind of man you are. I try to call you out here, brother. It's been 20 years, and I don't know how much time I got left. I went to the doctor 3 weeks ago just to say hi, to show up. You know, I haven't seen him. I was stuck in Kentucky for how long with you guys, and I lost 70 pounds in like 6 months. You know, and he was like, "Oh, let me tell you, my blood pressure was 195 over 142." That was about 3 weeks ago. I said, "You're on the verge of a heart attack or a massive stroke." I said, "Well, whatever. I still haven't done any medication. It's been 3 weeks. I'm supposed to go see my cardiologist on Tuesday." I'm like, you know, why beg the Lord every day to come home and take a pill to stay here and suffer? Because I'm in chronic pain 24/7. And I just lay in this park waiting to die. Like, let's just get on with it. You know, let's get on with it. I'm done here. There's nothing here for me except for my puppy and my dog. Somebody gave me a little puppy on Christmas. I love that little girl. But sorry, it's emotional, man. This is 20 years.
Gary, I am just beyond grateful that you chose me to share your story with, okay? And I am so happy that you are now getting it out there because the products that you do make are amazing. You do amazing work. And, you know, I'm sure all of your fan base has been wondering, where has Gary been for the last 20 years?
I was never allowed to sell one because I couldn't pay the licensing fees. I need 10,000 this fee. I need $10,000 for that fee. I needed to do all three. I needed about $35,000 to $40,000 for the licensing fee. I couldn't even show them without paying that fee. So when I launched the Facebook, I was saying, "Here's my stuff, goodbye." And that's when Jim Burke goes, no, we've been watching you. He goes, "They've been watching you in Italy. You're huge." I said, "Oh, you're finally seeing the forest through the trees." I said, "All I want to do is help these companies. I don't care about the money. You know, I built prototypes. I told the guys before, I says, I've seen build books and body lines you would die for. This is what I do. I'm an artist. I'm a designer. Product design development for 40 years. This is what I do." And Ford picked my brain, changed their whole thing. I'm the one that told Ford what to do. I was a little birdie sitting on Alan Mullally shoulder going, "Get rid of those scallops, pull this body line around, watch what the Japanese are doing and beat them." I'm the one that said to him, I says, "Your cars are Cindy Brady." I said, "Turn them into Marcia and you'll sell cars." He comes out being the savior of the world and says, "Our cars are fat, don't eat it, Homer Simpsons." Here's my analogy, just different characters. I mean, I know so much about that company, about the people at that company.
So why didn't other companies pick it up?
They did. I got offers from GM and Chrysler. Well, I went to the SEMA show without Ford licensing, and challenged Regina Watson there. "You got something to say? Say it." It's a perfect place for a press conference. She didn't say a darn thing. They came in. They stuck their attorneys on me after the SEMA show, and I said, "Really?" I said, I sent them an email that I got, and I said, "Bug me one more time, watch what happens." And they were about me again. When I blew up on the internet, they were climbing through the dousing themselves in gasoline, jumping in fire hoops to get me licensed, to keep me quiet for what they did. But it was too late, you know. I finally get licensed. I sell one part, and the guy says, "Give me control or get off my property." I'll send you a picture where I was on that. I was on a dirt lot with goats walking around me. And that's when I ended up in that park over here. Made a Facebook Goodbye. That's when Jim Burr called me. Whoa, what's going on? I said, I'm done. Can't do it anymore. It's killing me. It's not worth it. And he's the one that talked me into keep on going. In fact, he was the one that said, look, this is what we're going to do for you. We don't do this for anybody. He says, we're going to let you take orders. Promise us you won't ship a part until you pay your licensing fee. I said, Jim, that's all I've been asking this whole time. Fine, great. So here I am, putting my, Kickstarter together. And I'm telling people, look, I'm going to take orders. First 1,000 of each part's going to be signed and numbered. I need 6 months because I need manufacturing dollars. I need to set up, a manufacturing facility. I said, about 6 months before I start shipping parts. This is on a Wednesday. Friday night, I'm going to launch Saturday morning. Friday night, I get pulled out of the dirt by the Huntington Beach Police Department because I hit my head 2 days before that and ruptured the blood vessel at the top of my brainstem. I almost died. Doctor said, you shouldn't even be here. Doctor's like, you're lucky. I'm like, yeah, you're lucky, call this lucky. 3.5 years to walk. I'm dizzy. When you stand up too quick and you're dizzy, I'm like that 24/7, never stops. I'm dizzy right now. I just learned to deal with it. So when I stand up too quick, I almost pass out. My eyes go black. And my arms, both arms, they just feel like I got pulled muscles through both arms. This leg's so cold all the time, it burns. You ever stick your hand in the snow? You can go outside and test it right now and it starts to burn. That's what this leg is from all the time. I have no feeling in this arm. This hand's cold. I've nerve damage throughout my whole body because the blood vessel I ruptured feeds everything. So trust me, this is not what I tell everybody. I'm Job without the boils.
Yeah.
Just every day, it's something different. Look at it. Since I met you, look at everything that's happened. I'm telling you, me and the devil got the thing going, but we're kicking his butt.
But you're still going. You're still going. There's a reason.
He can try all he wants. Devil's got nothing on me.
That's right. So Gary, I want to talk about some of your products. Okay. So the first one, I'm going to pull it up here on my phone because I'm going to throw in the pictures.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hold on just a second.
All right. And then I'll take you over.
Okay, so there's the American flag that's done on the Chevy emblem.
That's the C6, probably C6 Corvette.
Okay, so I'm going to see if you can see this. Hold on. I hold this close enough, probably ain't going to show. So like this.
Yeah, the Chevy bow tie. I had 3 sections for my SEMA booth. I had Ford, GM, and Chrysler. I actually had GM licensing at that time, and I was in Florida, so I had GM licensing. I had verbal approval from Chrysler, and I was at war with Ford, but I didn't care. Right? So the guys, my partner at the time there, I finally found an investor in Florida. So he thinks in California, Florida. We're in Florida. I'm there for a year. He doesn't let me manufacture it tomorrow. We're going to do it tomorrow. And finally, he needed a SEMA booth. He needed a booth built for one of his shows. So I built him this 3-dimensional grass hut thing because he sold beach clothes. And then, so I said, okay, then we're going to go to SEMA. So that was our agreement. I build you this booth and we go to SEMA. So I built this SEMA booth and I went there. Now I got the GM licensing, but they won't let me make anything. They won't hire anybody. They won't, they had their own business going on. I was a little side gig. We'll get to you when we can get to you type deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm the hit of the show. I couldn't even believe it myself. I had the heads of SEMA. I had the media going, how did you not win Best New Product of the Year? I'm like, they're logos. But it was somehow everybody loved these darn things. So now we get done with the show, and the guy that was my partner, he's like, oh, he's never been at a show that's been this big. I've been doing SEMA since 92. I worked in 1991. I worked for hello. I got this old brain fade. Sorry, I had a brain injury. Doug Turner, sorry, Doug, love you. Doug Turner was one of the originators of the SEMA show. So anybody that's big in aftermarket automotive that knows SEMA knows who Doug Turner is. I did product development. And we get back from the SEMA show, and I get my shop, and my key doesn't work. I says, hey, what's going on? I says, can't get in the building. They says, yeah, you're not getting back in the building till we renegotiate the deal. I says, at 5149, there's no wiggle room here. They go, tough, you're not getting back in the room. You have to give us more. You have to give us control. I says, you better call your lawyer and just find out, ask him tell him what you just did. You just locked the CEO of this company out of the building. I said, I'm going to take you for everything you own. 5 minutes later, he's, oh, here, don't sue us, don't sue us, don't sue us. Well, I didn't, because I just said, look, dude, it's not my judgment day we need to worry about. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. I'll see you later. Bye. All the people I could have went after, I never did, because I always said, I'm going to be sitting front row on your judgment. I'm good. Trust me, I'm good. 30 years. I gave my life up 30 years ago. And I'm not some, hypocritical, hardcore. I live 24/7. The people that know me will tell you. I live for him and him only. My little dog. So, and it's just another investor. It was always 3 months or 6 months, and all of a sudden they go, okay, give us control. You're out of it, because they see me living in my van. Mm-hmm. You don't know. The Lord provides for me. I get through every single day. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've never wanted really for anything. He gets me through. Yeah. But the demons just keep getting in my way. And all I want to do is help people, feed people, take care of people, because there's millions of dollars here to be made.
You're exactly right.
I'm probably giving away $500,000 worth of tools here. Make money with this.
So are you making anything right now? No.
I can't. Disabled. I can. It's hard for me to walk over and sit at this table right now. And the crazy thing about it is, when this all started this year, I quit taking my medication in February. I said, Lord, I'm done. I'm just let me come home. That's every night to let me come home. And then it was Easter Sunday. This is probably going to get emotional here. The next day, I sit in there because, like I said, I talk to Yeshua 24/7. Everybody knows. I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking to my Lord. And so on my nightly prayer, I says, Lord, then I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I says, I can't move. I can't walk. I can barely make it to the picture. I'm not doing anything good. And people will testify to this. He says to me, he says, I'm going to tell you it's tomorrow morning. He says, you're going to go into your storage and you're going to start making your stuff. I says, how are you going to do that? I can't even move. He says, you let me worry about that. And I was like, okay, you're right. Valerie, I tell you, the next morning I woke up pain-free. I was pain-free, and I worked 12 hours a day. People like going, what happened to you? And the day after that, I get this thing in my download that I never saw before, and it says, God is healing you for the greatest comeback of your life. I didn't download that. It was on my phone, and I'm perfectly fine. I'm healed. I'm working 12 hours a day. I'm pumping out all these products. These people are like, this is a miracle. I got friends out here that are testifying in their church. They're like, this is a bona fide miracle. And since I got back to Kentucky, I'm back to being all the pain again. He healed me long enough to get the parts done to get them out there to you guys. If you want my opinion, I'll think. I don't think I'm going to make another birthday because I just feel worse than certain day. Friends that know me going, you do all right. I'm like, no, I don't know. So I'm going to die in the street like they wanted me to. Damn it, when I get that pearly gate, the Lord and Savior's going to pat me on the back, say, job well done. My father's going to hug me, say he's proud of me, and Henry Ford going to shake my hand, and I'll be good.
Gary, you got to keep the faith, okay? I want you to keep the faith.
Nothing but faith. But it's not a matter of faith. It's a matter of pain. It's a matter of being in chronic pain 24/7. Nothing works. They've given me everything, Dilaudid, all of it. Nothing worked for the nerve pain. I'm just riddled with it. My back hurts. My back's broken in 4 places. This shoulder needs to be replaced. I already did surgery on this shoulder. It's just, I suffer. I suffer until he lets me come home. That's where I'm at. But my faith couldn't be stronger.
So if you could pick one manufacturer in the United States to make your products, do you have one in mind?
Oh, yeah. I have a couple in mind. When I was doing this, I was hooked up already with the largest fiberglass manufacturer in the United States. They had 6 facilities stateside and 2 offshore. They are the ones that said, look, we will they were making all the windmill blades for GE. Well, they're done making windmill blades. They need work. They says, we will manufacture, warehouse, package, and ship. If you get the numbers here, but also to do that, you need to give them $100,000 manufacturing. They're not going to put their money up to do it all, to build a stockpile. And at that time, I wasn't showing it. It was just me talking to everybody. I'd get investors. They're like, oh, you don't have a company. You understand, I got licensing offers from Ford, GM, and Chrysler. And it wasn't until I did Facebook and it exploded. Everyone went, wow, you got something there. Can't see the forest through the trees. Right? And that's why this whole thing, I tell people, Ford Motor, Alan Mullally called me. I didn't call him. And people that know me in the industry, I used to be called, they used to call me the magician. Things just appear with you. And that's the talent the Lord gave me. I see things. I see things. I process things really quick. And if you have an idea, I know how to process it. I know how to manufacture it. How to make it. I know how to do it. You have a problem. If you got a product, you come to me. I can make it better. I don't know. It's I don't know what it is, but everywhere I go, people are like, dude, where does this come from? This is good Lord. In fact, when I was dealing with Ford, GM, and Chrysler, they always asked me, where did you go to school to learn all the things that you do? I says, ULGA. I'm like, ULGA? I said, yeah, University of the Lord God Almighty. I said, you find a better school than that, you let me know. I'd like to see it. I said, I was born with this. I didn't go to school for this. Hell. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's where it comes from. And no, you don't find it in a book. You don't find it in the classroom.
Nope. You don't.
The guy in the classrooms teaching. Why is he teaching in the classroom? Not out. Why is he not doing the job? Because the guys that are teaching you are the bottom of the barrel guys. They're teaching because they can't do it in the real world. Because I've dealt with these guys. So sorry, teachers. I'm talking when it comes to my kind of stuff. Not when it comes to just talent and artists. You can't teach somebody to paint. They're born with it. That's right. I'm not knocking teachers, but that kind of talent can't be taught. The God given is the God given. So
Gary, I want to thank you for being on this podcast again. And I want you to tell this audience one thing that you want them to take away.
Gosh, there's a lot, but you gotta help somebody when they're down. Opportunity knocks. You gotta answer the door. I'll tell you what. I've dined with kings and I've slept in the gutter, and the only people that have ever had my back are the ones in the gutter. The homeless are the ones that take care of me. The homeless are the ones that have my back. It's like the more money you got, the worse it gets. I don't want money. I'm good. That's why I just give it all away. I'd like. I said I would like maybe 1%, so I can get off the street and I can take care of the people that took care of me and take care of the homeless around here. Because I'm known around here as the guy that feeds the homeless. I would take my disability money and I'd feed the homeless with it. I was known for that guy. Like I said, I don't work for this world. The Lord tells me to take a bullet for you, I'll take a bullet for you. But getting something in return, you know how it is. I don't have to tell you.
That is right.
Man, we all got to get along. We all get together, put everything in the hands of the Lord. Yeshua, he's the only way. I don't call him Jesus. I don't do translations. We're tight, though. We're tight. We've been tight for a long time. So
good. Thank you, Gary. And everybody, I want to say, share this, like this, pay it forward. And if you want to connect with Gary, just comment below, okay? Because I know that this is going to get out there and it's going to go around the world. And we are all going to come together. We're going to help Gary. We're going to get his dream out there. And we're going to get him off the street because it's time that this man has his own home. It's time that he stops living in pain, that he sees the right doctors so he's not dealing with this on a daily basis. This isn't about, making money. this is helping an individual, help where you can, when you can, and how you can. And sometimes it's not even about, money that can help. It's clicking a button to share this so it gets in front of the next person that can help him. And that's why I wanted Gary on here, because I want his story to get out here, and I want to help this man, because as he traveled through Kentucky and when I met him, when somebody brought his name to me, I was like, yeah, I have a podcast, but I don't do podcasts with men usually. And then they just gave me a short version of a story, and I was like, there's a reason, Valerie, because I always say, look up ahead, right? God will throw something on your plate for a reason. So I was like, all right, I have to meet him. So I met him, and I was like, it just touched my heart. And I said, I have to help this man get his story out here one way or another. And then, he's in California, I'm in Kentucky. The weather hits. He's out here having these hot days. We're standing here in snow, freezing temperatures. But you know what? One way or another, we made it happen today. And there's a reason for that, Gary. Okay?
Bless. Yes, for sure.
Oh.
As soon as we met, I knew he brought us together.
So just keep the faith. Hold on a little longer, buddy, because I'm going to do what I can to help you, okay?
Thank you so much for taking the time and taking my story. And it's been a long, hard road. Like Josh says, it's a hard life.
That's right.
God bless you. And thank you.
You're welcome. So, guys, stay tuned, and let's see what happens after this. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
It's your time to grow. Get started with Little Pot Design Studio today.